I made my family disappear.
Remember that moment? For many of us, Home Alone wasn't just a Christmas movie, it was a piece of childhood. From Kevin's clever traps to Harry and Marv's hilarious misadventures, these films brought laughter, warmth, and a sense of holiday magic that still lingers more than 3 decades later. Today, we're going to take a look back at the unforgettable cast of Home Alone Point and Deux. Some went on to lead remarkable lives, building careers in and out of the spotlight, and some, sadly, left us far too soon. In this video, we'll explore where these beloved actors are now, comparing who they were in 1990 and 1992 with who they've become in 2025. We'll reveal their real names, how old they were when they starred in the films, share iconic moments from their careers, and uncover the highs and lows of their lives today. If you enjoy this nostalgic journey, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and trust us, you won't believe how actor number 5 looks now. Kevin McCallister was the clever, fearless little boy every kid dreamed of being, and every parent feared forgetting. Played by Macaulay Culkin, Kevin became the face of a generation of holiday movies. With his expressive eyes, razor-sharp wit, and iconic scream, Macaulay turned a simple premise into a global phenomenon. At just 10 years old, he carried both films with ease, earning international stardom. But fame hit hard. Macaulay stepped back from acting in the late 90s, later re-emerging in independent projects and online comedy. Today, he lives a more private life with actress Brenda Song and their child. He's also embraced his past with self-aware humor and warmth. Though decades have passed, Kevin remains the gold standard for holiday movie heroes, and Macaulay's performance still makes audiences laugh, cheer, and believe that even a kid home alone can outsmart the bad guys one paint can at a time. Harry Lime was the short, sharp-tempered half of the Wet Bandits, and Joe Pesci turned him into an unforgettable comic villain. Known for gritty dramas like Goodfellas and Casino, Joe shocked audiences with his hilarious physicality and unfiltered frustration. As Harry, he gave us growls, mutters, and some of the most brutal slapstick reactions in movie history. His chemistry with Daniel Stern was a masterclass in buddy comedy, with each scene more chaotic than the last. After Home Alone 2, Joe returned to serious roles and eventually stepped away from acting. But in 2019, he made a powerful comeback in The Irishman, earning praise once again. Now in his 80s, Joe lives mostly outside the public eye. Still, every holiday season, Harry reappears on screens as getting burned, battered, and outwitted. And Joe's performance reminds us that even hardened crooks can be hilariously human when faced with a kid like Kevin. Marv Merchants was the gangly, dim-witted counterpart to Harry, a burglar whose heart was bigger than his brain. Daniel Stern gave Marv a mix of childlike cluelessness and perfect physical comedy, turning every fall, scream, and spider encounter into a laugh-out-loud moment. From the moment he slips on toy cars to the unforgettable scream when a tarantula lands on his face, Daniel's timing was impeccable. He brought an energy that made Marv feel more like a misguided goofball than a true villain. Outside of Home Alone, Daniel thrived as an actor, director, and even a sculptor. He voiced the narrator in The Wonder Years, directed indie films, and advocates for youth arts programs. But no matter how far he's come, Marv remains his most beloved character. Decades later, fans still smile at Daniel's wild expressions and laugh at the chaos he brought to every trap. In the end, Marv wasn't just funny, he was unforgettable. Kate McCallister was the frantic, determined mother whose heartbreak and guilt drove the emotional core of Home Alone. Played by Catherine O'Hara, Kate wasn't just comic relief. She was the heart of the story. Catherine's ability to balance panic, humor, and fierce maternal love gave the film depth. Her famous line, "Kevin," became one of the most quoted moments in movie history. Long before Home Alone, Catherine had already made a name for herself in SCTV and Beetlejuice. Afterward, she continued to shine in comedies and dramas, eventually gaining a whole new audience as Moira Rose in Schitt's Creek. That role earned her critical acclaim, an Emmy Award, and the admiration of a new generation. Today, Catherine is hailed as a comedic legend. Still, for many, she will always be Kate, the mother who raced through airports, rode in a polka van, and reminded us what holiday love truly looks like. Peter McCallister was the quiet anchor in the chaos, a composed father juggling a big family and a massive mistake. John Hurd played him with understated warmth, offering a calm contrast to Kate's urgency. While Peter didn't get the big emotional scenes, John brought credibility to the role, making Peter feel like a real, if slightly overwhelmed, dad. John had already built a strong career before Home Alone with roles in films like Big and Beaches. Afterward, he remained a consistent presence in television and film, admired for his versatility and depth. In 2017, John passed away at the age of 71, leaving behind a legacy of quiet, powerful performances. Fans around the world mourned his loss, especially those who grew up watching him as Peter. He was the dad who tried his best, the one who may have forgotten his son, but never stopped trying to make it right. Buzz McCallister was the big brother everyone feared, loud, messy, and always ready with an insult or shove. Devin Rattray portrayed him with a perfect blend of smugness and immaturity, making Buzz one of the most recognizable sibling bullies in movie history. From hoarding pizza to scaring Kevin with tales of the furnace, Buzz left a mark. Devin was just a teenager when he took the role, and he returned in Home Sweet Home Alone, 2021, this time as a cop, a full-circle moment for fans. In real life, Devin continued acting in films like Nebraska, Blue Ruin, and R.I.P.D., often taking on darker or quirky roles. Off-screen, his life has faced controversy, including legal issues in recent years. But for Home Alone fans, Buzz remains frozen in time, standing at the top of the stairs, growling about Kevin's invasion of his room. He was the perfect older brother to hate. Megan McCallister was the eye-rolling, no-nonsense older sister who couldn't hide her frustration with Kevin if she tried. Played by Hilary Wolf, Megan had only a few lines, but she made them count, especially when delivering biting sarcasm like, "You're what the French call les incompetents." Hilary was a promising young actress in the early 90s, also starring in Big Girls Don't Cry, They Get Even. But unlike many of her co-stars, she stepped away from Hollywood entirely. Instead, Hilary pursued a remarkable career in sports, becoming a two-time Olympic judoka, representing the United States in judo at the 1996 and 2000 Games. Today, she lives a private life focused on family and coaching. Her pivot from screen to sport is a rare and inspiring story. Though she left acting behind, Hilary's portrayal of Megan, annoyed, sharp, and forever unimpressed, remains etched in the minds of anyone who grew up watching the McCallister family bicker. Lenny McCallister was another sibling lost in the sea of chaos. Dramatic, easily rattled, and just as exasperated with Kevin as the rest. Angela Gothalls played Lenny with just the right teenage energy, perfectly delivering lines like, "Kevin, you're completely helpless." Though her role was small, her presence added to the rich texture of the McCallister household. After Home Alone, Angela built a solid acting career, appearing in films like Jerry Maguire and TV shows such as 24 and Veronica Mars. She brought depth and intelligence to her roles, often choosing projects with emotional nuance. While she didn't return for the sequel, fans never forgot her iconic reaction when she realized Kevin was missing, a scream that still lives rent-free in our holiday memories. Today, Angela continues to work in the arts, occasionally appearing on screen. But to Home Alone fans, she'll always be the sister who delivered her panic with flair. Jeff McCallister was the less flashy older brother, quieter than Buzz, but just as annoyed with Kevin. Played by Michael C. Morona, Jeff had a few classic lines, most notably his deadpan reaction to losing power. "I'm not that lucky." Michael brought a dry, believable teen attitude to the role, helping flesh out the McCallister family's controlled chaos. After Home Alone, he starred as Big Pete in Nickelodeon's The Adventures of Pete and Pete, earning a cult following. As an adult, Michael transitioned behind the camera, becoming an electrician in the film industry, working on productions like Sex and the City and Men in Black 3. He also co-hosts a podcast with his former co-star Danny Tamborelli. Though his days as Jeff were brief, Michael's understated performance added realism to the film, the kind of annoyed teen sibling that makes the family feel real. Quietly, he helped shape the movie's unforgettable home life. Fuller McCallister may not have had many lines, but he had one unforgettable trait. If you shared a bed with him, you'd better sleep on plastic sheets. Played adorably by Kieran Culkin, Macaulay's real-life younger brother, Fuller was the shy, glasses-wearing cousin with a mischievous smirk and a can of Pepsi always nearby. Kieran's brief appearances became iconic, especially his little nod of anticipation when Kevin realizes he's stuck sharing a bed. Unlike many child actors, Kieran continued acting and built an acclaimed career. From indie films like Igby Goes Down to his breakout role as Roman Roy in HBO's Succession, he earned Emmy and Golden Globe nominations. His work is sharp, complex, and critically adored. While he's far from the bedwetting cousin he once played, fans still smile when they remember Fuller's quiet revenge. And that sly look that said, "You're the one who's going to regret this." Marley, better known as Old Man Marley, was the reclusive, snow-shoveling neighbor who scared Kevin more than the burglars, until he turned out to be the film's most touching surprise. Played by Roberts Blossom, Marley represented loneliness, redemption, and the quiet power of forgiveness. His final scene in the church and the reunion with his estranged son gave Home Alone its emotional core. Roberts was a respected character actor long before the film, appearing in movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Escape from Alcatraz. He brought a quiet grace to Marley that resonated deeply with audiences. Roberts passed away in 2011 at the age of 87, leaving behind a career that spanned decades. To this day, Marley remains one of the most beloved and unexpected heroes in holiday movie history, a reminder that sometimes the scariest-looking people have the kindest hearts, and that redemption is always possible. The fake Santa Claus might have only appeared in one brief scene, but he captured a moment of desperation, hope, and just a bit of magic. Played by Ken Hudson Campbell, the character was a scruffy, sarcastic man in a beat-up suit handing out candy instead of miracles. But when Kevin pleaded for his family back, not presents, something softened. Ken played that moment perfectly, walking the line between humor and sincerity. After Home Alone, he continued acting in films like Armageddon, Groundhog Day, and voiced characters in animation. He also built a career in voiceover and comedy. In 2021, Ken faced a public health battle with cancer and received overwhelming support from fans who remembered him from that tiny but unforgettable role. The fake Santa reminded us that even small moments, a kind word, a candy cane, can stay with someone forever. And Ken made it count. E.F. Duncan was the warm, generous owner of Duncan's Toy Chest, the fictional store that brought joy to kids and played a key role in Home Alone 2. Played by Eddie Bracken, Duncan embodied old-fashioned kindness, donating his Christmas Eve profits to a children's hospital and unknowingly giving Kevin a way to fight back against the burglars. Eddie brought charm, sincerity, and a twinkle-eyed gentleness to the role. He was a veteran of Hollywood's golden age, starring in classics like Hail the Conquering Hero and The Miracle of Morgan's Creek. Even late in his career, Eddie had a timeless screen presence. He passed away in 2002 at the age of 87. E.F. Duncan might have been a fictional character, but he represented something real, generosity without fanfare, and the magic of believing in good people. Through Eddie's performance, Duncan became a beloved part of Christmas movie history. The Pigeon Lady of Central Park was mysterious, strange, and seemingly invisible to the world until she and Kevin formed an unlikely bond. Played by Brenda Fricker, the character was a quiet guardian angel of New York's lonely winter streets. Beneath the pigeons and silence was someone wounded by the world, but capable of deep kindness. Brenda, already an Oscar winner for My Left Foot, gave the role immense dignity and softness. Her scenes with Kevin, especially inside Carnegie Hall, brought real emotional weight to Home Alone 2. Brenda continued acting in film and television, but stepped back from public life in recent years, living quietly in Ireland. Though she rarely gives interviews, fans remember her as the gentle soul who helped Kevin when he needed it most. The Pigeon Lady reminded us that compassion could come from unexpected places, and sometimes it takes a child to see someone no one else does. Mr. Hector was the ever-suspicious, overly proper concierge of the Plaza Hotel, who couldn't quite believe a child had checked in alone. Played by Tim Curry, Mr. Hector became a standout comedic character, smirking, scheming, and delivering one of the film's most exaggerated villain faces. Tim was already a cult icon thanks to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and he brought theatrical flair and impeccable timing to the role. Whether chasing Kevin through the halls or flashing that exaggerated fake smile, Tim made Mr. Hector unforgettable. After Home Alone 2, he continued a prolific career in film, television, and voice work, notably as Nigel Thornberry in The Wild Thornberrys. In recent years, Tim suffered a major stroke in 2012, which limited his mobility but not his spirit. He's remained active in fan communities and public appearances. Mr. Hector may not have caught Kevin, but Tim caught our hearts, with one raised eyebrow at a time. Cedric, the doorman at the Plaza Hotel, was the overly cheerful gatekeeper who welcomed Kevin with a wide smile and a clear hunger for tips. Played by Rob Schneider, Cedric brought an undercurrent of mischief and subtle sarcasm to every line. From hovering awkwardly outside Kevin's suite to accepting a wad of gum as a gratuity, Rob turned a minor role into a memorably funny presence. Already a familiar face from Saturday Night Live, Rob went on to have a major career in comedy, starring in films like Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, and The Hot Chick. He also performed stand-up, voice work, and even directed films. Though Cedric wasn't a central character, his moments with Kevin are still quoted by fans, especially that gum scene. Rob's ability to make even the smallest roles shine is part of what made Home Alone 2 so rich with memorable, laugh-out-loud moments. The concierge at the Plaza Hotel, often confused with or merged into Mr. Hector's role, was another hotel staff member who added to Kevin's unusual experience. Played by actor Dana Ivey, the character welcomed Kevin at the front desk and helped facilitate his check-in, treating him with the courtesy of any other guest until suspicions began to rise. Dana brought grace and a touch of old-school professionalism to the role, giving it a sense of authenticity amid the slapstick. A respected character actress, Dana has enjoyed a long and acclaimed career on stage and screen, with credits in The Addams Family, The Help, and multiple Broadway productions. She's been nominated for several Tony Awards and is known for her poise and range. While her appearance in Home Alone 2 was brief, Dana's presence added polish to the Plaza's atmosphere, a reminder that even in chaos, there's always someone trying to maintain decorum. The bellhop at the Plaza Hotel learned the hard way not to knock on Kevin's door without warning, played by actor and stunt performer Rob Leeson. This character appeared briefly, but memorably, being on the receiving end of one of Kevin's homemade booby traps, a firecracker-filled trick that sent him leaping in panic. Though the bellhop didn't speak much, his reaction was pure cartoon energy and added another hilarious beat to Kevin's stay in New York. Rob continued to work primarily as a stuntman and minor character actor, appearing in various action and comedy projects where physical performance was key. His brief moment in Home Alone 2 proved how even silent roles, when performed well, can leave a lasting impression. For fans, the image of a stunned bellhop fleeing down the hallway remains another gem in the film's long list of unforgettable slapstick moments. The desk clerk at the Plaza was one of the first hotel employees Kevin encountered, polite but suspicious from the start. Played by Ali Sheedy, best known for her iconic roles in The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire, her appearance in Home Alone 2 was technically a brief, uncredited cameo. She delivered her lines with quiet skepticism, raising an eyebrow at the idea of a child checking into a luxury suite by himself. Though the role was small, it was a fun Easter egg for fans of 80s cinema to spot Ali in the middle of this holiday adventure. After Home Alone 2, Ali continued working in both independent film and television, earning praise for roles in projects like High Art. Her cameo reminded audiences that Home Alone wasn't just about Kevin, it was also filled with winks to movie lovers and unexpected appearances from Hollywood icons. Donald Trump made a brief but instantly recognizable cameo in Home Alone 2, playing himself as a hotel guest who gives Kevin directions in the lobby of the Plaza. At the time, Trump was known as a flashy real estate mogul and owner of the hotel, and his appearance was a product of that influence, reportedly part of the filming agreement. Though he only says a single line, the moment became iconic, replayed endlessly as part of pop culture trivia. In the years that followed, Trump's fame shifted from business to television and eventually to politics, culminating in his election as the 45th President of the United States. The scene was briefly cut from some airings during his presidency, sparking debates about censorship and nostalgia. Love him or not, Trump's appearance in Home Alone 2 remains one of the most talked about cameos in movie history. A brief moment that became part of something much bigger. As the years go by, the magic of Home Alone never fades. These actors, whether they made us laugh, cry, or believe in holiday miracles, left a lasting mark on our childhoods. Some are still with us, some have quietly stepped away, and some we've had to say goodbye to. But every holiday season, they come back to life on our screens, reminding us of simpler times, louder families, and the joy of being home. Which actor did you grow up watching? Share your memories with us in the comments.